Too Sweet Wrestling Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is Friday, May 11th, and this is episode 18 of the Too Sweet Wrestling Podcast. Yes, indeed. We talk about Seth Rollins. Is he the face of WWE? Has WWE brought Roman Reigns fans and haters together? We're also going to talk about two reports from Vince McMahon and WWE about Vince McMahon and WWE that will just baffle you. We're about to get into all of that. We're going to get to Becky Lynch as well. Justice Becky Lynch. But first we're going to do a little bit of house cleaning. You can find this channel on YouTube. Just type in OMG Corey B in the space bar. There I am. You can also find me at Castbox. I will leave the links also on Twitter at OMG Corey B and at the number 2 and at 2 Sweet Pod. That's the number 2 Sweet Pod. So let's get right on into this. First, we have no quick hit topics today. No too fast, too furious topics today. So we're going to get right on into it. The first topic the lead topic is Seth Rollins the face of Monday Night Raw? Is it? You know, I heard a lot of people talking about this, and this has been whispers. Now, I've been waiting to talk about this since Monday. That's the catch-22 when you have a YouTube channel and a podcast. Sometimes you just take subjects away from your podcast. It's the catch-22. But I held on to this one. A lot of people have been mentioning this for quite a while now. And I've been on the side of, no, he's not the face of Raw. But this all started in that elimination match before Elimination Chamber where Seth Rollins went 25 minutes. He had an incredible performance, an endearing performance to see a guy go that long in just a regular Monday Night Raw match. It was incredible. That led him to WrestleMania, fantastic matchup. Triple Threat wins the title, big victory. And then these past two matches with Finn Balor on Raw and The Miz, that match with The Miz was incredible. Insane. I think it even tiptoes into the match of the year category. In that category, I'm not saying it's the match of the year, it just belongs in that category. It was so great. So looking at the question, is Seth Rollins the face of WWE? He certainly has the ability, has all of the ability in the world, one of the top wrestlers in the world. I enjoy watching the guy wrestle every day. We went through that weird stretch where he was kind of hurting everybody. It wasn't all his fault, but we went through that weird stretch. Everything's cool. I like his ability in the ring. He certainly has the ability. He's very much grown into his personality as well. Seth Rollins didn't really do a whole lot for me on the mic. Once he got to WWE and the Shield, wasn't all that great. I thought Dean Ambrose was the real talker of the Shield. That's who I enjoyed more as a personality. On a side note, I really miss Dean Ambrose. Legitimately, I miss his personality on the screen for Monday Night Raw. It'll be interesting when he comes back. I hope they don't flip him heel like they did Seth Rollins. But sticking to the point, Seth Rollins has really grown into his personality. I enjoy him very much, and I enjoy him on the mic. To be quite honest, he's as good on the mic as he is in the ring. As for this discussion, Seth Rollins has just kicked down the door of this discussion, if you ask me. Obviously, when you look at the situation, you have Roman Reigns, who we'll get to all of that later. Obviously, WWE hasn't wavered on Roman Reigns, even though they keep making these decisions, which we'll get into. So Roman Reigns is still there. Braun Strowman is still there as well. Seth Rollins has really barged his way into the discussion. He's not the first pick. It reminds me of Daniel Bryan a little bit. Now, not nearly as much as Daniel Bryan, but it reminds me of Daniel Bryan in the fact that Seth Rollins is not the given choice. He's just taking the opportunities that he was given, and he's gotten over really well with the fans. And that's another part in this. The fans just love the guy. love Seth Rollins. I think that is incredible, to be quite honest. Just the response that he got in Canada. I actually thought that, like I said, I tweeted it on Twitter, that it reminded me of Hulk Hogan. When Hulk Hogan was in Canada or Montreal or wherever it was. The guy was in the ring and the guy just couldn't talk. The people wouldn't let him talk. And it was so loud of a response. And that's what it was in Canada for Seth Rollins. The people just loved the guy. And he's just madly over with the fans. But at the end of the day, is he the face of Monday Night Raw? I am going to go with no, but just barely. I'm going to go with Braun Strowman. And let me tell you how I determine this debate. Ultimately, I determine this debate as who should beat Brock Lesnar? Who should be the guy to beat Brock? And right now, Braun Strowman is in head and shoulders ahead with people who should beat Brock Lesnar. He's the choice, in my opinion. He has the physicality to throw Brock Lesnar around. I have a fantastic idea for a Braun Strowman Brock Lesnar matchup, by the way, to which I'll stay on track here. I won't get into that. Maybe I'll get into that in another podcast. But he's the guy that should beat Brock Lesnar. He's over with the crowd. He loves the crowd. Obviously, he's not the greatest wrestler in the world. I'll admit to that freely. But there are ways that you can work around that. And Braun Strowman heavyweight title run could work. You just have to do it right. Now, where does Seth lie in this argument? I think Seth Rollins is clearly number 2 in this argument. Now, he does not have the physicality to beat a Brock Lesnar, but an underdog storyline would work perfectly with Seth Rollins, where he gets a sneak roll up on the win on Brock Lesnar. That would work greatly. I'm at the point to where now I think Braun Strowman should win the title. But if they were to turn around and say, okay, we're going with Seth, I wouldn't have a problem with it whatsoever. I think he's clearly leapfrogged Roman Reigns in this discussion, and he's just at the table with Braun, and it's on those two. Who will beat Brock Lesnar? Who will they go with? It could just be Roman Reigns after all, but they need to go with Braun Strowman, in my opinion. If not Braun, it should be Seth Rollins, because I really think that he is approaching this face of Raw and this face of WWE discussion as well. He's done a phenomenal job, and he deserves everything, every positive, great thing that he gets in WWE. So moving on, we have quite the topic here that I'm pretty sure you will not hear on another podcast, because it is quite crazy. And the question is, has WWE indirectly put Roman Reigns fans and haters on the same page? Look, just stick with me here. Sometimes you gotta hit rock bottom in life to see the light. And I look at WrestleMania, and I would say that was rock bottom with this whole debate. These fans, this Roman Reigns fans, the haters, and you have people in the middle like me. This whole debate, I think that was rock bottom for the entire debate. And there are a lot of fans after that I'm proud of that said, okay, even the staunchest Roman Reigns fans have said, what is going on here? What are they doing? And I gotta commend them, because to be honest, that WrestleMania result with Brock Lesnar not putting the title on Roman Reigns, it was one of the more harmful results to a brand, to a company in recent WrestleMania history. Because you look at the fact that, okay, the fans hate Roman Reigns. It is just what it is at this point. You have to accept that at this point. Now, the fans popped for the Brock Lesnar win, but that was because it was a huge surprise. Who expected that? I probably would have popped for it too. But you have to put the title on Roman Reigns at all odds in that situation, because 90% of all of us, at least the people who were tired of Roman Reigns, said that, okay, at least Roman Reigns can win, and that'll put the Universal title on Monday Night Raw every week. And then we can have Roman Reigns get into a feud with somebody else, and then they can be built up and beat Roman Reigns. So, throughout all of this difference, throughout all of this hate going back and forth, we all agreed on one thing. And that was that Roman Reigns should have won the title at WrestleMania. That was WWE's last hope, in my opinion, to get people to come over, to get people to want something of Roman Reigns, that the people that didn't like him, that was the last hope. You should have put the title on him. But looking at the situation, we've all come together, and it's interesting because when you look at Roman Reigns matches, the problem that people have, in my opinion right now, the two problems that people have, and Steve Austin pointed out the second point. And the first point, in my opinion, is that people are watching Roman Reigns matches in fast forward. Like, stick with me here. When Roman Reigns has a matchup, I know when I already see Roman Reigns, I'm already thinking, okay, when's the comeback gonna happen? And, you know, and it doesn't even matter at this point if he wins or loses. Look at WrestleMania. People are already upset with the match. If it slows down to a slow crawl, look at Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe. People are already thinking, oh well, just get the Roman Reigns comeback out the way. This match is boring. And that's a problem. And the second point is, Steve Austin said that Roman Reigns is not a sympathetic babyface. And that could not be any more true. When you get Roman Reigns down into these rest holds or whatnot, Roman Reigns is not a person that can build sympathy. He's not like a Daniel Bryan in that he can build sympathy as an underdog babyface and have you believe that, you know what, I'm going to make this comeback and it's going to be great. No, he's not that type of guy. He's even not a Hulk Hogan that would get the fans involved into the match. He was a great babyface, Hogan was. He wasn't a great wrestler, but he was a great babyface. He was a great guy that can make a great comeback. And that could get the fans rolling up. But Roman Reigns is not that guy. That's the problem in his matches, first of all. But looking at the point, I think all of us are at a point, not all of us, but the greater majority, I'll say that 80% of us are at the point to where like, okay, what's going on here? Something needs to change. I've seen guys and girls on Twitter that are just, like I said before, the staunchest of Roman Reigns supporters have come together and said, something needs to change. Why didn't you? We've come together and said, why didn't you put the title on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania? Even people for the AJ Styles and Nakamura match, I've seen a lot of my timeline filled with, okay, why is this matchup not going on last? And okay, if you wasn't gonna put the title on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, then what's the point in putting this match up with Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe last, and not the WWE title? So at the end of the day, we all just want to see something change for the better of wrestling. I get that at the point from a Roman Reigns fan standpoint. I get you guys are saying that, okay, what's going on? We need a change. And I see people coming forward with that. From the side, I'm not a Roman Reigns hater, but from the side of a Roman Reigns hater, they've been saying for a while, you need to turn him heel. And you need to do something. You need to turn him heel because the fans will never accept them the way he is. And we've had booking decision after booking decision, nonsensical booking decision, hashtag blame creative, nonsensical booking decision after another where we say, what is going on here? Like even the match with Samoa Joe, it's like they have this long stretched out match and okay, Roman Reigns hits one spear and Roman Reigns wins. And then they expect that to get over. Like, no. The people just will never accept him for what he is right now until you turn him. So, with that being said, while most of us are on the same page, there are a segment of you that turn around and say, silly rabbit, tricks are for kids. There are a segment of you that are still, a segment of people that are still wanting Roman Reigns to go down the status quo. Even in the midst of these storylines that have proven that this will lead to nothing but bad news for Roman Reigns, there are people that still want him to go with the status quo. And to that segment of people, I have to say that, what is your solution here? I mean, I've even seen something to where it said that, well, Roman Reigns is getting a reaction, so he's over. No, that has never been the case. And people like to point to John Cena. And the case with that is, John Cena, for the first 2 to 3 years of his Doctor of Thugonomics run, got cheered out of the building. High cheers left and right, no boos whatsoever. It wasn't until around 2006 or so, maybe late 2005 or whatever, where John Cena started to be too much. He started to win every match, and he started to win and win and win, and the fans just got tired of it. That's what led to John Cena being booed and cheered. What's leading to Roman Reigns being booed? Now, a heavy percent of it is boos. Just looking at Monday Night Raw, they booed the man. You couldn't even hear the beginning of the music. He's not over in the way that Vince McMahon wants him to be over. And there are a lot of people that realize that. And there are a lot of people, and I commend those people for saying, okay, if we change this, this could work. This could possibly work if we change. So at the end of the day, I think we're all in the same, not all of us, but the greater majority of us are on the same viewpoint that something needs to change. They need to go in a different direction with Roman Reigns, and we'll see if they do go in a different direction with Roman Reigns, to which that leads me to my next points and my next topic, to which I saw a couple of stories on Roman Reigns. And don't get me wrong, look, I know people like to rag on podcasts and say all they talk about is Roman Reigns. Well, when you see news coming out and it's steadily about Roman Reigns, then what are we supposed to do? Not talk about it? So, looking at this news, the latest news, comes from Slice Wrestling. He said that the people walking out in the middle of the match at Backlash was an eye-opener for Vince McMahon. And, you know, we have all of these reports that come out, and it's hard to even view those in a positive light, because in the back of your mind you're thinking, oh, Vince McMahon loves Roman Reigns, so therefore whatever. But I do believe the report that it was an eye-opener. And to go on with that report, he had another report that said WWE officials view turning Roman Reigns heel as a last option in their attempts to push his character. If all else fails, the WWE universe could see Roman Reigns in a top program as a heel. Why I'm laughing at that is the "if all else fails" comment. Like, at this point, what else has to fail? The greatest Royal Rumble. And this is just the report, so we leave it as just a report, but I give my opinion on the reports. The "all else fails" comment is just hilarious. And to think that, okay, yes, people walking out at Backlash was an eye-opener for Vince McMahon. It should be. It's people walking out. It's your customers walking out the building. You should pay attention to that. And people are just upset with the narrative and with the Roman Reigns experiment in general. Now, as for WWE saying, you know, well, if all else fails, then it'll be a last resort. I mean, this is the problem with WWE right here. I mean, I've been saying this for a good 4 years now, at least 3 years. I've said you need to turn him heel because it fits his character. He's cocky. He comes out to the ring with a gold chain and a man bun. I mean, that just screams cool heel. Why not turn the guy? Why keep going with the status quo? You need to turn the guy yesterday. That should have been the turn years ago, and then we wouldn't be at this point to where we're still debating Roman Reigns and why he can't get over. So I look at these reports and it just baffles me because, like, I don't know what else has to happen. The fans are already revolting Roman Reigns' matches, and looking at Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal, my goodness, what do you think they're gonna do in this feud? And it's going to lead us all the way, most likely, into Money in the Bank at Chicago. What do you think Chicago is going to chant when Roman Reigns and Jinder Mahal is in the ring? You're going to think that you think they're going to chant about a guy that had over a 300-day reign as WWE champion? I think they're going to really chant that guy and chant other things as well. So, at the end of the day, look, I wish the best for Roman Reigns. I honestly do. I don't feel sorry for him because he's main event. I see people that say, man, I feel sorry for Roman Reigns. I don't feel sorry for him because he's main evented 4 WrestleManias in a row. I don't feel sorry for anybody who gets to do that. But I do see the inconsistencies with the storylines, and he really deserves better from the creative at this point. So moving on to the last topic of the day, and this will be a quick hit. Becky Lynch. Justice for Becky Lynch. Look, I'm going to spend a quick time on this one, but Becky Lynch was competing for the Money in the Bank slot on SmackDown Live this past Tuesday, a match against Mandy Rose, and I paid it no mind initially because Mandy Rose is coming out, and I'm like, okay, Becky Lynch is in the Money in the Bank. Becky Lynch is going to move on. This is great for her. And I started to get down in my phone. The next thing I know, Mandy Rose is picking up the victory. So Becky Lynch has fallen very far. And I'll admit to this that, okay, the announcers bring it up in that they said that Becky Lynch, how can she work out of this slump? So initially that gives me hope that they're building towards something with Becky Lynch. So I like that for the most part, but looking up into this point, boy, look how far Becky Lynch has fallen. The first SmackDown Live Women's Champion, the quintessential member. Well, I don't know about quintessential member, but she's one of the member of the 4 Horsewomen, has fallen basically to nothing in WWE. She's like at the bottom of the rung when it comes to the ladder. And it's just baffling in my opinion because, okay, Charlotte is great. She's had a great run. But Becky Lynch should have been like the next in line when it came to opposing Carmella after Charlotte Flair. So I don't really get it there. But I am willing to say that I don't mind going on a ride. If they're building to something, we'll see what happens next week and in the coming weeks. Are they actually building towards something with Becky Lynch? Because they better be, because she's fallen to nothing. And they really need some kind of creative direction in her way. I don't know what they could get going. I don't just want to be lazy and just say heel turn for her. As for Roman Reigns, I like to say heel turn because I have concrete reasons as to why it would help his character. I don't just want to say heel turn for Becky Lynch just for the sake of a turn, but they need to treat her with some type of importance going forward before she becomes basically nothing like Sasha Banks and Bayley are at this standpoint. So hopefully we'll see how that goes. Hopefully they do something with Becky Lynch. So that's it for this podcast. Let me know of your thoughts, whatever thoughts that you have on the topics, let me know down below. Let me know on Twitter as well, and I will be sure to respond to them.